What's up, everybody? My name's Chance, and today we'll be hopping into Core Set 2021 Mythic cards, rare cards. What will I recommend you to craft, basically? Don't ask me why I said that so weirdly, but this is going to be, you know, the most expensive cards, basically, that are coming out with Core Set 2021. The cards that people are actually debating, like, should I spend my wild cards on this, you know? Because every time a new set comes out, we all, you know, the people that don't have $100 to throw at the game, we all sit here and contemplate, like, what is worth using my 3 rare wild cards on, or my 6, or whatever, you know, X number. So this is going to be not necessarily a guide, because I'm not recommending that you craft all of these. I'm not even recommending that maybe you go out and craft any of them. This is just the cards that I will be crafting and the reasons why I'll be crafting them, right? So before we go and hop into this video today, I would like to remind everybody that tomorrow is Tuesday Brews Day for Core Set 2021 and the pre-release streamer event that will be going on the following day, right? So shout out to Wizards first and foremost for that. But on Tuesday, join us over on twitch.tv/DrSpillikin, where I'll be showcasing the decks that I'll be playing in the pre-release event, and that's it. That's the only place that I'm gonna be showing them. I've thought about it a lot. I don't want to do a video where I'm like, hey, here's all my decks, and then everybody comes and plays them, and I don't get to fully showcase them, right? I want to release them one by one, or rather, what I'm gonna do is 2 by 2 for the pre-release event until, you know, I run out of footage or whatever. But that is my plans, and so if you want to see the decks we're gonna be playing, if you want to cast your ideas for what I should be playing come Wednesday, which is the pre-release event, we'll probably be starting up around 1 o'clock Eastern Standard. Anybody that's interested, you know, come out there on Tuesday. We're gonna be starting at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. That's Eastern Standard. Join us, submit your ideas, help me brew up some decks. We'll see what we can create. Now, without further ado, let's hop into the cards. Also, if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like down below, comment in the comment section, and please subscribe if you want to see more content. So, hopping into the cards to craft, and these are going to be the main ones that I recommend, whether they be, you know, competitive or fun jank, or a mixture of the two, right? So, first and foremost, we have Basri's Lieutenant. It's a 4-mana 3/4. It has Vigilance, Protection from Multicolored, which is, you know, everybody's first thought with that is, yes, it's safe from Faerie, and yes, it is. It's a 4-mana card that is safe from the 3-mana Faerie. We all love to see it. Anyways, furthermore, it reads, when Basri's Lieutenant enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. It can select itself, which is a beautiful, beautiful mechanic, or ability rather, in this mechanic, because a lot of creatures will have come down and they can't target themselves for something, so it's really nice that this one can. And a key little note, it means it can go up to a 4/5, which gets through the walls and, you know, all that good stuff. The questing beast, right? It can block into a questing beast if you put the counter on itself. So a lot of good stuff there. And then last but not least, this last little bit of text is fantastic. Whenever Basri's Lieutenant or another creature you control dies, if it had a +1/+1 counter on it, create a 2/2 White Knight creature token with Vigilance. So why is this so beautiful? Why is everyone hyped about it? Well, it's a 4-mana card that allows you to get something out of board wipes. So previously with aggro decks, if somebody hit you with that turn 4 Shatter the Sky, or turn 4 Oath of Kaya, or turn 4 Storm's Wrath, right? A lot of turn 4 board wipes. You're pretty much just up the creek without a paddle, right? You don't have any answers. Your creatures are all gone. Your hand is exhausted because you're not playing card draw, because you're playing aggro. Basri's Lieutenant is that 4-mana play. So on the play, not on the draw, but on the play, and well, we've all been very akin to this already. Being on the play with aggro is great. Now with Basri's Lieutenant, come turn 4, since you're on the play, you get to play this first. Their turn 4, even if they board wipe you, you know, you're getting back maybe 2 or 3 2/2s, and sure, you're not getting back a whole board, but you're getting back something. And, you know, 2/2 creatures with Vigilance, come the next turn, that's 4 extra damage that your opponent, you know, what are they going to do about it? They just tapped out all their mana to kill all your creatures, and now you have more back, and you can buff them up or throw Embercleave, or like whatever you're playing this, you know, whatever deck you're playing this in. So super awesome. I'm super excited for this card. And yeah, as far as ranking the cards, as far as like why I recommend a lot of these, we're ranking them on like 3 3. He said 3 holds up 4. We're ranking them on like 3 scales. So you got the funness, right? How fun is this card going to be to play? If I tap out 4 mana and put this on the field, am I going to have that overwhelming feeling of yes, oh god, yes, right? 2, is it competitive? Because nobody wants to spend a rare or a mythic on a card that when they play it gets countered, or you know, people just remove it or kind of shit on it. So competitiveness. And then 3, playability. And this is something that I personally rate very highly, actually. So playability for a card is how many different decks can I build and put this into. So something like Basri's Lieutenant, you have mono white weenies, you have Naya decks, you have Boros decks, you have Selesnya decks, you have a ton to work with this card. You can even do Azorius decks if you wanted to, right? Orzhov, life gain decks, there's so much. Okay, we're not going to dive into all the decks you could do with this, but that's part of the reason why we have this on the list. It's fantastic. I do recommend you crafting it if you enjoy jank decks that also have competitiveness, that it's not necessarily control, right? Basri's Lieutenant is right where you want to be, and these cards aren't in any specific order, so it's not like Basri's Lieutenant should be the first card you craft, and then, you know, whatever's next should be 2. It's whatever order. These are just a list of cards I recommend, yada yada yada. Moving us on from Basri's Lieutenant, we have Speaker of the Heavens. 1 mana 1/1 has Vigilance lifelink. Tap it, create a 4/4 White Angel creature token with flying. You can only activate this ability if you have at least 7 life more than your starting total, so you know, generally 27, or I guess if you're in something like Brawl, it'd be 32, right? Anyways, and you can only cast it anytime you could cast a sorcery spell, so on your turn basically, right? And during one of your main phases. It's kind of weak because it comes down, it's a 1/1, you're like, oh, whatever. But it has Vigilance and Lifelink innately on it, which means if you're boosting this card up, you have a Vigilance Lifelinker that's, you know, 3/3 or 4/4 or whatever. Furthermore, being able to create a 4/4 White Angel creature token every turn is really kind of busted, given you don't have to gain 7 life every turn, you just have to be resting at 27 or more. So this card, again, I do recommend if you enjoy the life gain decks, if you enjoy the sort of fun creature centered decks around mono white, you enjoy that kind of stuff, I highly recommend this. I think it'll be good in the enchantment decks as well, because it's a 1/1 that has Vigilance and Lifelink already, which means if you put something like an All That Glitters on it, well, it's getting really big and it already has Vigilance and Lifelink, so boom, boom, bam, right? Anyways, I'm going to try to keep this video short, so Speaker of the Heavens, it's very right there in your face on why you want to play this and what kind of decks you want to play this in. Again, the playability with this card is very high. You have mono white, you have Selesnya, you have Boros decks that this could be good in, so a lot of options. Ooh, Azorius. Oh, that Azorius controlling life gain deck is what I'm reminded of with this card, but yeah, I digress. Next up, we have Ghostly Pilferer. Not gonna be able to pronounce half these cards. Anyways, it's a 2 mana 2/1, and you say, Chance, that's not that exciting. However, this card reads, whenever Ghostly Pilferer becomes untapped, so if you're swinging in with it on each of your turns and then untap it, you may pay 2 if you do draw a card, so that's fantastic, right? Secondly, whenever an opponent casts a spell from anywhere other than their hand, draw a card. That's going to be your Euros, that's going to be your Mutate decks, you know, any escape cards, any jumpstart cards, all that good stuff. You're going to be able to draw a card for free. And then last but not least, you're going to be able to discard a card, and this card can't be blocked for this turn, so, you know, free hits into the face. I don't recommend that you pick this card up immediately, but I find it very hard to believe that this card goes a whole thing of rotation and doesn't see competitive play somewhere. 2 mana for a card that has 2 instances of being able to draw your card, plus an instance of not being able to be blocked, plus can be mutated onto. I don't see how people don't find a way to play this, right? It can be played into a rogue deck, which I don't know if they'll back the rogues, like sort of what they're pushing it right now, but there could be a rogue deck, a Grixis rogue deck that comes out of it. So if you're into mono blue tempo, if you're into tempo decks in general, This is a great card. Like I said, it can be mutated onto, which I think a lot of people are underestimating, right? Discard a card, can't be blocked. Well, we have Sea Dasher Octopus, ladies and gentlemen. That's a 2-mana mutate onto, and now this card draws a card every single turn regardless for free. Seems really strong. Anyways, that's gonna be Ghostly Pilferer explained. Moving us along, we have Sublime Epiphany. It is a 6-mana instant. We talked about this on the podcast, and all of us pretty much agreed this is a card you're gonna be running 2 of in almost any deck that runs blue mana, right? That's even semi-slow. Mid-range decks are gonna love this. Control decks are gonna love this. The only people that aren't gonna love this is the aggro player that this happens to. So for 6 mana at instant speed, you're gonna be able to choose one or more counter target spell, counter target activated or triggered ability, return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand, create a token that's a copy of target creature you control, and or target player draws a card. So for 6 mana, you can draw a card, you can get another creature down, you can return something your opponent has on the board, planeswalker, enchantment, artifact, whatever it is, back to their hand. You can counter a triggered or activated ability, so something like a Priest of Forgotten Gods, right, or a Mayhem Devil trigger, right, if you want to counter that, and so it doesn't kill your planeswalker or something, you get what I'm saying. And then you can also counter the Kroxa that they tried to put in. So this card is, it's insane, it's crazy. You're gonna see it a lot. This is one of those cards it's a safe bet as far as being competitive, as far as going into multiple decks. You know, its playability, its competitiveness, very high. The only thing I will say, if you're not a control player, if you're not into the slow plays, the wait until you get to 6 mana or trying to ramp up or whatever, you know, if you're not into that, then it's not very fun, because yes, it does a lot of stuff, but if you're not into any of the stuff that it does, then it's just 6 mana for a card that you'll never end up casting, which is always feels bad. So if you're not into it, you're not into it. But if you like blue in the least bit, if you like copying creatures, if you like bouncing your opponent's stuff, drawing cards, anything, this is the card for you. Also, I want to apologize, there's a fly. Me and him have been nemesis for like the past 2 or 3 days. I'm irritated, to say the least. I will search him out. He keeps stuff flying around, and I know y'all can see him in the webcam. He only likes to annoy me when I go to record. Anyways, Terror of the Beaks is going to be our next card. If you don't pick this card up, what are you doing? This has got to be one of the most interesting mythic cards I've seen in a long time. So for 5 mana, you get this dragon that reads, it's a 5/4, has flying, as most dragons do. I won't say all dragons, because, you know, we had I think it was Shimmering Dragon or something like that. That was a little sleeper. Anyways, it reads, spells your opponent cast at target Terror of the Peaks cost an additional 3 life to cast. So even if your opponent wants to remove this card with a targeted ability or spell or whatever, they're gonna have to immediately pay 3 life, which is fantastic in a lot of the decks that this is gonna be going into. Gruul aggro, mono red aggro, honestly just kind of slotted into some decks as a creature all on its own, since it's not legendary, and you can play another one and then have that 5 points of damage. Anyways, this card's gonna be everywhere. Jund, oh, this card is fantastic. And then the last little bit of flavor text is really the kind of nice thing about it. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Terror of the Peaks deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target. So I'm going to let everybody in on a little secret here. It doesn't have the legendary thing, so you can just play it and play it and play it. With Mirror March, right, you can hit instant lethal. It is a bit janky, but it's very fun. It's crazy, and it's a card that you will see in competitive play, like I said, before it rotates out, guaranteed. 5 mana, that's not expensive. It's not expensive for the standard that we're in right now. Highly recommend picking it up if you're looking at mythic cards. This is one of them. You know, a lot of the planeswalkers are mythic, so a lot of people try to choose one planeswalker and then one other card. This I recommend to be that one other card. If you enjoy creature decks, if you enjoy Gruul, mono red, or just having fun in general. Moving us along, we have Heroic Intervention. This card is kind of low on the fun scale in what it does by itself, but it's very high on the fun scale in what it can allow you to do, to a degree, right? Because we need to be realistic with this, and it costing 2 mana to give permanents you control, you know, hexproof and indestructible. Yes, it's nice, But we do still have to remember 3 mana Faerie exists, which means this being an instant speed spell in certain matchups simply won't matter, you know? So in all of those, and in all of the situations where you hit it and you don't have any permanents that need hexproof or indestructible because you're trying to look for them, it's not going to be good. So I recommend, if you're going to pick this card up, don't pick up more than, you know, 2 copies. Maybe just 1 copy, because you'll probably draw at least 1 copy at some point along the way, and you'll be like, oh, okay, cool, I have 2 copies now. Anyways, if you're going to play Temur Reclamation, it might be a 4 of immediately for you, but that's the thing. This card, it can be slotted into almost any deck, you know, that has green, of course, but it's gonna be good. Permanents you control gain hexproof and indestructible. You're steering clear of board wipe, or if you're playing something like Temur Reclamation, you're protecting your reclamation, so you get to protect your planeswalkers, your artifacts, your enchantments, your creatures. The only thing you're not protecting is your face, which, unless mono red burn, which I don't think it will come back so strong that it makes this card obsolete, but unless Mono Red Burn comes back and becomes a huge threat, this card's going to be played everywhere, pretty much everywhere, right? 2 mana instant speed, just nope, cancel. It's beautiful. I do recommend picking up this card if you want to have fun, and of course, girls, we just want to have fun, so. Not much to it past that though, right? Scavenging Ooze, this is a card we were all looking for so long. It answers the cat ovens, it answers the Euros, it answers everything we never enjoyed playing against, right? Except for Faerie. Scavenging Ooze is a 2 mana 2/2 for 1 green mana. You can exile target card from a graveyard, so yours or your opponent's. If it was a creature card, put a +1/+1 counter on Scavenging Ooze and you gain 1 life. Now, obviously this becomes much better against creature decks, but as we just rolled out of Ikoria, there was a ton of creature decks between the mutates, between the Euros and the cat ovens and the sacrifice and yada yada yada. There was just a ton, an absolute ton of graveyard interaction, right? The Lotuses, the Call of the Death Dwellers, it was crazy. Scavenging Ooze is your answer. It's very cheap, 1 in its base cost, 2 mana, get it down. It has decent stat lines for a 2 mana 2/2. It's still gonna die to shock. We all hate to see that, but for one single extra mana, even at instant speed, and it doesn't tap this creature, which means you can use it again and again and again and again. You can give a +1/+1 counter, gain life. It's great against aggro. It's great against those long annoying decks that just bring back the escape creatures and the jumpstart cards and this and that. This is everything we wanted. This is everything us giant creature-y decks wanted. Just a 1 piece, we can now deal with stuff you have. So expect to see this card a whole lot. And again, if you're not the control player, if you're like me and you like playing creatures and you like bashing faces, well, this is the place. This is certainly the place. Again, with the rares though, I recommend only ever picking up like 1 or 2 copies, because the worst thing in Magic ever is getting like 20 gems when you know you could have spent that rare wild card somewhere else, right? You're like, damn it. Anyways, that's a topic for a different video. Moving us along, we have Faerie Master of Time. It's a 4 mana, 3 loyalty planeswalker, which is kind of low for 4 mana. I'm not gonna lie, like that's something that people should be taking note of, because, you know, 4 mana, if you just drop this down, it's not like you're negating your opponent's instant speed spells like you did with 3 mana Tef. You're wide open to just getting, I was about to say lightning struck, but that's not in standard, but y'all get what I'm saying. Fire prop, well, that's for creatures only. Heart fire, right? That's instant speed. This instant speed deal 4 damage, but you get what I'm saying. This Faerie is a lot more removable than the 3 mana Tef that came down with 4 loyalty and made it to where you can't cast instant speed spells. So I feel like this one is a lot more fair, but still very, very viable if you're going for something like a mono blue tempo deck or an Azorius tempo deck. A lot of good stuff here. So it reads, you may activate a loyalty abilities of Faerie Master of Time on any player's turn anytime you could cast an instant. So you can +1 on your turn, draw a card, then discard, then on their turn you can +1, or you can -3, you know, whatever, you take your pick of the litter. Now the cool little effect, draw a card, then discard, yes, it's going to help you loot, and that's why I say in mono blue tempo it's going to be really good, because you're going to be drawing a card and discarding a card on your turn, on their turn, on your turn, on their turn, and you're going to be able to phase out any big threats they may have on their side of the board and allow your creatures to keep swinging in, drawing cards, that kind of stuff, right? Now the phase out ability that I keep talking about, what does it do, how does it work? why should you care about it, and you know, how do you use it? So for -3, target creature you don't control phases out. Basically, you're going to treat it as if it does not exist at all. Both players are going to say, you know, toss it against a wall, basically. Just stick it somewhere else, pin it up, right? And then come the controller's next turn, and I don't know, I guess it's in standby, right? Because it says until its controller's next turn, so it'd be as soon as that turn hits, right? So in the standby, untap, all that good stuff. It doesn't exist. They can't target it, you can't target it. It doesn't gain counters based off any board triggered abilities. It can't be sacrificed. It doesn't exist. So I will say this, it's a bit tricky because you don't want to phase out something on your opponent's side of the board and end up benefiting them. I don't know key situations or niche situations where that would happen, but just as a generalistic, you don't want to do that, right? But it's super fantastic. And then the -10, take 2 extra turns after this one. I have a homework project where I want everybody to figure out how to make this go infinite. I'm posing it again here. Somebody figure this out. Nobody's came to me with an answer yet, and I'm a little disappointed, honestly. How do we make this -10 go infinite? 2 extra turns. We have Wilderness Reclamation. We have Bastion, not Bastion. We have Karn's Bastion, which gives you the ability to proliferate whenever you tap it. How do we make this go infinite? I want to know. Moving us along, we have Chandra, Heart of Fire, 5 mana for a 5 loyalty planeswalker. That's a little bit more my speed. For +1, you're going to be able to discard your hand, then exile the top 3 cards of your library. Until end of turn, you may play cards exiled this way, so it does work upon itself. So you exile 3 cards the first time, you can't play any of them the next time, you exile 3 more, and now you have 6 cards to look at. The next time you exile 3 more, you have 9 cards to look at. You see where I'm going with this. You end up building up an exile pile that's much bigger than any hand you could ever muster, and you can activate it on every turn so long as Chandra's down. So that alone is fantastic. Not to mention its other +1 ability, that's right, 2 +1 abilities, is Chandra's Heart of Fire deals 2 damage to any target, to the face, to planeswalkers, to creatures, wherever you want it, you name it, it's dealing damage. So super fantastic there. And then if that wasn't enough, she has a wonderful ultimate. So for -9, you're gonna be able to search your graveyard and library for any number of red instant and or sorcery spells, exile them, then shuffle your library. You may cast them this turn, add 6 red mana. So this is gonna be great for picking up things like Inescapable Blaze, right? It's a 6 mana card, can't be countered, it's instant speed, it deals 6 damage to any target. You win the game, right? If you're looking for that 6 damage, if you're there in the end with mono red and you're like, no, how do I get there? Boom, you're there. 6 damage, can't be countered, it's going straight to the face, it's instant speed, it's everything you could ask for. This is a card that I will definitely be picking up. If I was looking at the Planeswalkers, it'd be like, It would be hard to decide between this and Mugen, honestly, but this is such a good card. This is so fantastic. I don't know if it'll actually see a whole lot of competitive play, but for 5 mana, being able to have access to 9 cards in 3 turns that's not your hand, it's gonna be hard to justify this not being played somewhere. Am I right? Moving us along, we have Stormwing Entity. It's a 5 mana 3/3 flyer, and you say, Chance, well that's garbage, that's actually ass. But if I don't smack my mic around too much, I'll explain it to you. This spell costs 3 mana less, 2 and a blue, less to cast if you've cast an instant or sorcery spell this turn. So a couple things to know. 1, it means you're going to want to cast instant speed spells on your turn sometimes, like an opt. 2, that knocks it all the way down to a 2 mana 3/3, which now you're not laughing so much, right? Because it's 2 mana 3/3 that also has prowess, which means it's going to get additional it's going to get additional +1/+1 stats during your turns whenever you cast instant or sorcery speed spells. So that's fantastic. And then furthermore, whenever it enters the battlefield, you're going to get to scry too, so you kind of get to set yourself up for the next 2 turns as well. So that's really fantastic. And if you can find a way to flash this creature in, then you're getting a flash speed 3/3 flying prowess scry machine. Which is a lot to say, but it's really fantastic. And this is why a lot of people are saying mono blue tempo, blah 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 blah. I think it's going to be fantastic. I think it's going to be played. I could be super wrong. I don't recommend crafting this card until we're all very sure that it's going to fit into a deck. But again, it's one of those cards that I find it hard to believe that this card is going to go from time of release all the way until next year of being rotated out without seeing standard competitive play given its stats, given its sheer power. So moving us along, we have Gaborik, the Crown Scourge. It's a 3-mana 5/4. How can you not love that base stat line right there? Am I right? Anyways, it has flying. It's just getting better. It's just sweetening the Kool-Aid. I don't know. Gaborik, the Crown Scourge, however, can't attack unless you control 4 or more artifacts. So a lot of people are afraid, obviously, for how people are going to be attacking with this, because that's going to require some finessing. But then we have in the second little bit, at the beginning of your end step, create a treasure token for each non-token creature that died this turn. You're going to be seeing this in the Rakdos Sacrifice, you're going to be seeing this in the Jund Sacrifice, and then you're going to be seeing this in the janky artifact red Jeskai whatever decks, right? It's fantastic, even if it can't attack, right? So goodness gracious, Gaborik is 3-mana 5/4. Its stat lines work really well with Terror of the Peaks, right? With that 5-mana 5/4 that comes in and blah 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 blah. Because this is a 3-mana 5/4. Whenever it enters battlefield with that card, it's going to be able to deal 5 damage to anything, and it can still defend. So you still have a 5/4 defender that you might not even care if it dies that much, because again, it's just 3 mana. Furthermore, in all those sacrifice decks, every time you play down the cat and then sacrifice the cat and then play down the cat, you're getting that many treasure tokens, which are artifacts, which are going to allow this card to, well, you guessed it, swing in. Not to mention the fact that food tokens are also artifacts. So in that Jund sacrifice deck, this is just sort of sliding in very nice and easily, right? Because you have the Gilded Goose, and that's a food, and you have Trail of Crumbs, and that's a food. So by the time you get this down on turns where you could already have 2 artifacts, and you get where I'm going. It's a fantastic card. I recommend you wait a little bit, but it's going to be played in the Cat Oven decks for sure. So if you're a fan of them, pick this card up. And I would say pick it up immediately. Moving us along, we have Mon Tomb. This is a card that, again, I don't see it not seeing play given the amount of value that it brings for how cheap it is. So for 2 mana, and this isn't a very fun card, but it's a card that you can literally play in any deck ever, right? Because it's colorless, so it doesn't matter what color you're playing. Anyway, you can tap it, you can put a page counter on it, and you're going to be able to scry 1, so you're going to get a little bit of information, set yourself up for the next turn, which is fantastic because you can do that as soon as it enters the battlefield. Furthermore, you can pay 2 mana, tap it, and put a page counter on it as well, just one single page counter, and you're going to be able to draw a card. So all those control decks that used to love the Search for Azkantas and whatnot, well, this is kind of pay an ode to that. It's like a Search for Azkanta meets a treasure map, right? It's like they smashed them together and had a beautiful little baby. Furthermore, whenever there are 4 or more page counters on Mon Tomb, exile it. If you do, you gain 4 life. So this is a control player's dream, right? You get extra information up against the aggro matchups. You get 4 extra life, which is, it's huge. If anybody's been watching the player tournament on, or whatever it's called, right? The PTO, it's actually crazy the amount of times that a Cat Oven deck gets so close to beating the Team of Reclamation deck. But then, the Team of Reclamation comes back. This card makes it to where they're not even gonna get close, right? 4 extra life, that's huge. That's huge. So I think this card is worth picking up. I think it's worth crafting if you're a control player, if you like taking it slow, if you like, I'm gonna think about my plays, I'm gonna look for my cards, I'm gonna have counter and destruction in my deck, Anyways, moving us along, we have Eugen or Eugene, however you want to say the name, the Spirit Dragon. It's an 8 mana 7 loyalty planeswalker. This is a beast. It's a monster and a half. Whenever it comes down, it's going to be able to +2 and deal 3 damage to any target, which is crazy, right? You're gaining high amounts of loyalty and you're dealing 3 damage to any target. I can't express how awesome that is in a planeswalker. For -X, you're going to be able to exile each permanent with converted mana cost X or less that's 1 or more colors. So you can exile other artifacts like this, and keep that in mind in case people start playing mono green chromatic, mono red chromatic, that kind of stuff. I'll get into the second one later. That's whoopsie, should have shut my mouth, right? Anyways, the only thing I will say about the -X ability, a lot of people may not be thinking about, hey, I'm going to end up exiling all of my own ramp, and then what will I do? So my recommendation for this card in general, don't rely so heavily on Paradise Druids and things of that nature. Go more into the playing extra lands down, right? So something like a Growth Spiral or like a Euro where you can ramp with it, still have it kicked back to where once this card comes down, you can play Euro after it and not worry about exiling it, all that good stuff. Anyways, the -10 ability it's another like beautiful piece to this puzzle. -10, you get to gain 7 life, draw 7 cards, and put up to 7 permanent cards from your hand onto the battlefield. So essentially allow you to win the game if you have a decent deck or if you draw decent cards or whatever. You know, 8 mana it's not difficult to get to anymore. We see 8 mana come down from Wilderness Reclamation decks very often. You know, Soul Tide decks ramp so hard they get to 8 mana in a jiffy. So this is definitely a card if you're into ramp decks, if you're into the go big, go bigger. This is the card that you want to be going big into, you know? It's 8 mana, it's colorless, so you don't have to worry about like, oh, how am I gonna fix this? Am I gonna need to get those rare lands? No, you don't, you know? You just pick this mythic bad boy up, and you don't worry about spending any of your rare wild cards on those silly little lands, and you be happy. No, I do think this is fantastic. I think if you're a ramp player and you're into playing the Enrace Forerunners or you're into the Mutate decks, like this card seems to cater to everybody. If you're a control player, you know, it's got a little something that everybody can enjoy, and I think that is one of the truly beautiful things about it, right? Anyways, I think this is going to do it for our main list of cards that I suggest you craft in the Mythic and Rare slots, right? Because they're always back and forth on their wild cards. Should I craft it? Should I not? What do I do? So this is my recommendations as far as the rare and mythics. As far as uncommons and commons, you're gonna get a ton of uncommon, common wild cards. Just don't be a bozo and spend all 4 of them on every single card that you're like, ooh, I want to try that. Just get 3 of them. Just get 2 of them. Try them out, and then you can invest more into it later. Anyways, we are going to go and hop into the other honorable mentions section. Again, if you're enjoying the video, please be sure to leave a like down below, comment in the comment section, and subscribe if you want to see more. It helps every single video. And hit that bell icon that pops out after the blah, 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 blah. Damn it. Hit the bell icon that pops out after the subscribe button, and you'll be happy, I promise. Anyways, now on into the honorable mentions. And these are cards that I'm going to be crafting because I'm a content creator and I believe that I should be showing content from across the entirety of the game, and so that requires me to have a wider variety of cards. Maybe not more cards, but a wider variety, to whereas some people may have more 4 copies of a card. I have more cards that are just like 2 of, but wider selection. Anyways, Gaborik. It's on the honorable mentions because I don't want to tell anybody, hey, go pick up this Planeswalker that I'm like on the fence about. Now, I did build a mono white weenie deck, and I'm not gonna lie, it's looking something fierce. Gaborik may end up being something that's worthwhile, but every time that I play it out in my mind in the scenarios, it just feels like for his decks to win, for his decks to be able to do what they want to do, like your opponent has to be doing nothing. Right? Like, it just feels like there's always going to be a better 3-drop. Now, that's not to say that this card's not good, that mono white weenies aren't going to be good, because I don't want anybody to think that these honorable mentions are me saying, oh, these cards are trash compared to the other ones. No, I just don't want you to feel as nearly pressured, I guess, to go out and craft these, right? So Gaborik is fine if you want to play him in a mono white weenies deck, but the main problem is, again, if you're investing into this card, it's a mythic, so it is very expensive. And it doesn't have a whole lot of playability. You got it in Boros, you got it in Mono White, and you got it in Selesnya, right? Aside from that, you could try it in Azorius Flyers, in Azorius Tempo in general. But I feel like you would want, Teferi, I feel like you would want a different Planeswalker than Basri there. So that's why I kind of take it out of there. You don't really want an Orzhov, because most of the time you're playing Aristocrats, unless you go for that -2 ability just to get 2 more extra creatures down, in which case you just paid 3 mana for 2 creatures, and there's definitely better spells out there than that. So you see what I'm saying? Like, his playability isn't super high, and if he doesn't end up being competitive, then you just spend a lot on a card that kind of flops. So again, you may see him do well, you may see him take off. If so, it'll only be like 1 or 2 decks. Don't get too optimistic, and go over by this Planeswalker. It's not like Luca, where it's going to come in and just smack the meta around, right? Next up, we have Nan Lobs. This is a card I caution you very heavily to, think about before you invest into it. It is a rare, so it's not nearly as expensive as a mythic, but sometimes the rares are a little bit harder to come by because, well, you want more of them than mythics, right? Anyways, Nan Lobs is 3 mana for an enchantment that gives itself hexproof, and it reads, if a source would deal damage to you, prevent that damage and put an incarnation counter on Nan Lobs. When there are 9 or more incarnation counters on Nan Lobs, exile it. When Nan Lobs leaves the battlefield, you lose the game. So there are a couple interactions you can do this where you like counter the triggered ability of Nan Lobs yourself, right? If you're going into Azorius to where it won't leave the battlefield, but then you're having to counter that ability every single turn, so that can get a bit expensive. But it does have this nice caveat of making sure that those Gruul beatdown decks that sort of just hit you with the questing beast don't, right? They don't get to just kill you because questing beast. You actually have a line of defense. So I don't know if it'll actually be competitive. It may be a sideboard card, right? Because if you're playing against somebody and they're not necessarily playing a go wide strategy, they're just playing a go big with their creature strategy, this is kind of perfect, because then they're hitting you with the, oh, I have a 6/6 trampler, but, well, it doesn't matter with Nan Lobs. It doesn't matter how much damage you do with that one source, it matters how many sources you have. So Nan Lobs, you don't want to be playing it up against go wide decks, you do want to be playing it up against go big decks. I just can't fully recommend it, given that it does have the drawback of potentially losing you the game once it leaves the battlefield and you not being able to do anything about that, and it's being a little expensive. So, and again, I don't think the playability on this card is exactly high, given you're going to need to kind of play catered to this card, so you don't just throw it down and lose because, oh, whoops, you don't know how to do math, or whoops, you didn't win quick enough, right? Moving us along, we have Pack Leader. I know a lot of people are going to be mad that I'm putting the doggos over here in the honorable mentions, but let's be real, I don't know that the dogs are going to be super competitive, and so that's why they're going in honorable mentions. As far as fun goes, I think this is one of those things where you're not investing into the funness of it this set, you're investing into it in future sets, because this is core set, and so a lot of people need to realize that this is the core of what we'll be playing for the next year carried over. So if we're seeing something like Pack Leader now, sure, pick it up, because next set, or maybe the next set, or maybe the next set, dogs will be prevalent. You don't drop something like this and then not support it at all. So even if it is just for a fun, janky, sort of have fun, have good time, I think Pack Leader is excellent. It is a very, very strong card in itself. I just don't think that the support necessarily is there for Pack Leader, right? So other dogs you control get +1/+1 whenever Pack Leader attacks. Prevent all combat damage that would be out this turn to dogs you control. Obviously that's fantastic. It allows you to swing in with all your dogs and sort of just, as a Raging Fury, swing at your opponent, try to take them out. It's 2 mana, but it is a rare, so again, if dogs don't end up being competitive, I'll feel bad if I recommended it, and that's the only reason why it's over here in the honorable mention section. Moving us along, we have Discontinuity. I hope I'm saying that right, Discontinuity. Anyways, it's a 6 mana instant speed spell that allows you to end the turn. That's right, just straight up end the turn. So it's not necessarily like a Nexus of Fate where you get to have another turn and your opponent never gets to untap. They will get to untap, but if you can cast it as at instant speed spell on your opponent's upkeep, then, well, they better have a really good instant speed spell. Otherwise, the turn's coming right back to you. So a lot of cool interactions with this. It's an instant speed spell, so obviously any cards that read you can reach into your graveyard and cast instant speed spell, or you can reach back and put it into your hand, are going to be fantastic with this card, as they're going to allow you to keep bouncing it back to your turn again and again and again and again. And you say, Chance, it's 6 mana. How often are you actually going to have 6 mana on your opponent's turn and actually be able to cast something like this? Well, let me remind you that Wilderness Reclamation is still in standard for another, 3 to 4 months, so you got the mana, you're gonna be okay. If you're a Wilderness Reclamation player, if you're a player that loves extra turns, I do highly recommend this card, as it's something that you're gonna want to be playing. If you're not someone that doesn't love control, if you're not someone that doesn't love, taking extra turns and taking the hell of time in one match, then don't pick up this card, because it's a whole lot and it requires a whole lot within itself to actually be played. I can't justify sitting here telling you go out and play this card because you'll have fun every game. Because in all reality, there's going to be like 4 out of 5 games that you play this card. Well, I'll say like 3 out of 5, because like 2 out of 5, you should be able to hit this with Wilderness Reclamation, given you're playing the right deck for it, right? And you're controlling the board and you're setting yourself up for it. So, you know, 3 out of 5 times it may not work. 2 out of 5 times it may work. It's gonna be hella fun those 2 out of 5 times for the people that enjoy it. For the people that enjoy taking 5 turns back to back to back and just going infinite with your own turns, it's gonna be fun for that. And then for the jank players, just so you know, you can play this on your turn after something like a Mirror March, right? And then all of the tokens that you create with Mirror March are gonna stay because of this ability, where it, you know, it cancels the end of the turn things. You get what I'm saying. You're gonna be able to keep all of the tokens and all that kind of stuff, so it's gonna be very, very nice in jank decks as well. But I don't highly recommend going out and picking this up unless you've seen it and you're like, yes, I know what deck this is going into, I know how I'm playing it, and I know it will work, right? Moving us along, we have Liliana, Waker of the Dead. This one is especially an honorable mention for me, mostly because I'm biased towards it. I really love Liliana, I really love zombies, I love the whole aspect of it. So she kind of goes on here just because I'm going to be picking her up just for, well, personal preference. Furthermore, if you're a discard player, one of those people that loves fucking with your opponent's hand, you're going to love this card. For +1, each player discards a card. Each opponent who can't loses 3 life. Now, obviously, you're saying, Chance, I don't want to discard my own hand. And then I remind you that reanimate is a thing, right? So you just discard a Dracuseth, you discard a Villas, you discard a Gaborik even. And then you come back and reanimate it later, and you're not worried about it because you're dealing 3 damage, you're getting rid of your opponent's hand, and you're playing reanimate, so discarding, again, not that bad for you. Furthermore, for -3, target creature gets -X until end of turn, where X is the number of cards in your graveyard. Now, I kind of don't like this because, again, if you're playing a discard deck, you're not trying to discard yourself, you're trying to discard your opponents, so it kind of doesn't make sense there, but I get it because you're trying to also like have your creatures die with Liliana so you can reanimate them, so I don't know. Anyways, for -7, you're gonna get an emblem with, at the beginning of combat on your turn, put target creature card from a graveyard, any graveyard. So if you're playing Commander and you're playing with multiple friends, this is gonna be fantastic for you. So from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control, and it gains haste. So steal your opponent's stuff from the graveyard and haste it back at their face hole. I already have a very, very awesome deck lined up for this, so has to go in the honorable mentions. If you're someone that likes reanimate, if you're someone that likes discard decks, then this is for you. Moving us on, we have Veto Thorn of the Dusk Rhodes. It's 3 mana 1/3 that reads, whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life. For 5 mana, creatures you control gain lifelink until end of turn. I think this card will see play in at least a lower top tier deck. Does that make sense? Like you got like top tier here, and this will be like down here in the bottom, right? Anyways, I don't think it'll be necessarily tier 1, but it has the potential to, you know, 2-card KO your opponent with this and Revival Revenge. So it's cool. It allows all those life gain decks to have another means of killing your opponent besides just let me kill all these chum blockers with my Johnny Breadmade and try to slowly get by. You get what I'm saying? Where you're like, man, I wish I had Trample in this deck, or man, I wish I could give my Johnny Pridemate Flying, or whatever. This is going to give you an ability to actually end out the game just by, just by using your Heliod, putting lifelink on your Pridemate, and then swinging in with that, because once that Pridemate hits for the 24 damage and you gain that 24 life, that's 24 life dealt to your opponent, even if they chum block. So it's kind of like a pseudo trample. It's like a pseudo life gain trample for 3 mana. Of course, the only downside to this card is it is 3 mana, so it's a little slow, and it's a 1/3, so it's very easily removed. That's my biggest hiccup on it. Aside from that, this would go straight into the, like, you should craft this immediately, but 3 mana, it's a 1/3. Realistically, we've seen how this goes. It will get removed about 50% of the time. So 50% of the time, you're having a blast, you're having a ball, you're doing everything you love in Magic, and then the other half, you're screaming at the Teferi player, you're smashing down on the Storm's Wraths, you're getting tired of the Shatter of the Skies, right? You're complaining. Moving us along, we have Elder Gargaroth. Speaking of complaining, smashing computers and whatnot, this is a 5-mana 6/6 Vigilance, Reach, Trample, and it reads whenever Elder Gargaroth attacks or blocks, you get to choose one. So you get to create a 3/3 green beast creature token, you get to gain 3 life, or you get to draw a card. Now I know everyone's looking at this and saying, man, that's crazy, that's so fucking awesome. But you have to remember, you don't get any of this when it enters the battlefield. When it enters the battlefield, you're just getting a 6/6 with Vigilance, Reach, and Trample, which can easily be removed. Now, given that we're going into the pre-release event, I imagine a lot of people are going to be playing this and won't be punished because a lot of people aren't going to have removal in the pre-release event, mostly myself included. So it's going to do fine in the pre-release event. I don't want you to go out and buy this card or go out and use a wild card on this card because you see a bunch of streamers using it and they get lucky because no one's removing it, because that's not how reality is going to work. It's going to get removed. It's going to get bounced. I recommend, if you're doing this for anything, you're throwing it in the sideboard, because otherwise you're going to be spending at least 6 mana, right, to get this card down, and then have that 1 mana left over for something like Ranger's Gil, or I can't remember the name of the card, but you get what I'm saying. It's a 1 mana instant speed spell that allows you to give your creature hexproof. So, and again, 6 mana for a card like this isn't terrible, but you're only giving it hexproof, which means the board wipes are still going to hit you. And if you wait until you have protection from the board wipes, then you're waiting until 7 mana, and well, it may just be too late, right? Your opponent's going to counter it and all that good stuff. So I love the card. I really, really do. I want it to be good. You can ramp into it. I'm going to try it out, you know, guaranteed. This is something that I will be trying, but it's a mythic, and so it's very expensive. And for it to enter the battlefield and do absolutely nothing, I can't justify myself recommending it to you, because I know there will be plenty of games where, even myself included, I play this down and then it dies and I'm like, well, okay, GG, I tried, you know. Because that's just the nature of the beast with cards like this. Either you get it down and your opponent can't do anything so they concede, or you don't get it down and that was your coup de grace, and now your opponent's run away with the game because you just spend all your mana on this big old creature that did nothing. So it's very polarizing, cards like this, right? They either enter the battlefield and they end the game, either for you or against you. Moving us along, we have Ren and Sarah Inseparable, and everybody's saying, Chance, we told you we wanted to see this card the most. Why are you throwing it in honorable mentions, you buffoon? I know everybody wants to see this card, but it doesn't mean that you should go out and craft this card. Okay, it's a mythic, it's a 4/4 that does nothing when it enters the battlefield. Again, when we just talked about this, I have a hard time selling this to people, you know? It's 4 mana. Okay, 4 mana, you play this down, come your next, you know, your opponent's turn, and boom, Storm's Wrath, and boom, Kaya's Wrath, or boom, Shadow's Sky. Like, there's so many ways to kill this card. There's so many ways. It doesn't have innate protection. It doesn't have anything that it does when it enters the battlefield. So I can't recommend it over the top for for just those reasons alone. And if that wasn't enough, it has Naya across its pays, right? So red, green, and white. So anyone that doesn't have the shoplands, anyone that doesn't have the temples, you're just kind of feeling bad about it, right? You're like, oh, well, I don't know, do I play gates and kind of hope? Do I play the life gain lands? Which, yes, you always play the life gain lands over the gates unless you're playing a gates deck. The point is with this card is you're gonna play it, you're gonna pay the mana, and sometimes, again, it's just gonna be a disappointment. Now, in all the other games, I think it's gonna be fantastic. I think people are gonna love it. Being able to play 2 tribals in one, that's something that I haven't really seen in Magic, aside from the, like, Fight as One card that came out in Ikoria that's like, hey, here's a spell that affects humans and non-humans, so you can kind of have this weird human non-human tribal. But dog cats, this seems fantastic, you know. All your dog spells, which again we're going to be seeing more support for, get this. All your cat spells, which we've already seen tons of support for, get this bonus. And then for Naya colors, you're going to be able to tap this card, deal damage to any target, and gain life. It's really fun. We're definitely going to be playing it. Again, it's a mythic. I don't know if I can recommend going out and spending your mythics. So why don't you just let people like me go out and play this card first, and then you can decide, hey, am I a jank player at heart? Am I someone that's going to be okay losing 50% of my matches because I play this down on turn 4, it does nothing, and my opponent runs away with the game? because that's what's going to happen. Now, you can wait until turn 5, and then you have things like God's Willing to sort of protect it, right? And if you're into Commander, if you're into Brawl, it's a super fun card. But again, for the competitiveness, it's kind of low, and for the fun, like, playability of it, well, fun is high, but the playability of it, you're really only playing this in one deck, right? Like, you're building maybe 2 decks, okay? You're building this out in a Cat Dog Naya Tribal, and then you're maybe building this out in a Cat Mutate Naya Tribal. Cat Tribal, you know what I'm saying, a Naya Cat Tribal Mutate deck. Right, so those are basically the 2 decks that you're going to be playing with this card. And so it's like replayability is going to go kind of low, and if you're already not enjoying it, or you're already not enjoying the fact that it gets removed a whole lot, you're really not going to enjoy that. Moving us along, we have Chandra's Incinerator. If Big Red ends up becoming a thing, you will see this everywhere. It's a 6-mana 6/6 that reads the spell cost X less to cast, where X is the total amount of non-combat damage dealt to your opponent's this turn. So obviously, if you're shocking them in the face, if you're using your Scorch Spitters, your Cavalcades, it's going to go way down in cost. Furthermore, it has Trample, so you're getting a reduced cost 6/6 Trampler on the board. That's awesome. And it reads, whenever a source you control deals non-combat damage to an opponent, Chandra's Incinerator deals that much damage to target creature or planeswalker that player controls. So your Scorch Spitter now, instead of just dealing 1 extra damage to your opponent's face, is going to deal 1 extra damage to your opponent's face, plus 1 extra damage to one of their creatures or their planeswalkers. So it's also going to act as a pseudo removal from your opponent's board state. And again, all of this is for 6 mana or reduced, 4 mana, 3 mana. It's crazy. It's a 6/6. The only thing is it may be a little too slow. Mono red may not be as heavy as what I'm thinking this is going to be, right? So I can't wholeheartedly recommend it. I would wait to see how the meta shapes out, if this card actually takes into fruition everything that I'm talking about here, and just sort of see from there, right? Next up, we have Garrick Unleashed. I don't recommend you pick up this card until rotation. I felt like I should mention it, but I don't think this is better than the 4 mana Vivian Arcbow Ranger generally ever in the decks that you're going to be playing this in versus that, right? So I mean, maybe in a Garrick Tribal, if you're just all about this lovely little huntsman, then sure. But unless you're trying out a Garrick Tribal, I don't really recommend picking this up until after that Vivian rotates. Once that Vivian rotates out, then, have fun, because this Garrick will replace her kind of nicely. But until then, it just doesn't offer the same interaction. Moving us along, we have Grim Tudor, which the funness for this card is real low, but the competitiveness could be very high. So this is a card, it's 3 mana sorcery speed, which we have to Faerie, so you can still use this as instant speed and then sort of set up a perfect turn 4 play or whatever. You're gonna be able to search your library for a card, put that card into your hand, then shuffle your library. You lose 3 life, which again, 3 life, it's not that big a deal in this kind of standard where we have life gain out the wazoo. It is fantastic. It's going to allow you to pick up that combo piece. I can't highly recommend it because it is 3 mana, so it's a little expensive. So if it ends up being too expensive to be efficient, then you won't see it be played. But I could see this card being a staple of one specific control combo deck that's like, hey, I'm going to control until I either find this one card or until I find my Grim Tudor, and then it's over for you, right? Moving us along, we have Faerie Emancipation. I don't actually recommend you pick up this card. It's on this list, but it's one of those things that I recommend you wait to see if you get it out of your packs, right? Because it's 6 mana, it's very expensive. If a source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals triple that damage to that permanent or player instead. Now the thing with this is it will never, ever be competitive. And you can mark my words on that. You can play it in a competitive scene, you can take it into ranked, but it's not ever going to be actually competitive into the tournaments. It's 6 mana for an enchantment that, in mono red, your Torbrand already costs 4, and people play that, and it does the job. People play Obosh, and it's 5 mana, and it does the job. I don't know that 6 mana is going to be quick enough for people to play this down and do the job and feel good about it. So I don't recommend crafting this card the first week. No matter how many people are saying, oh, this card is broke, this is everything you want to see in Magic, this will literally cause you to have an orgasm. Like, don't craft it. Just wait a week, wait 2 weeks, see where the meta lands. If it feels like a card that you could realistically play down in about 40-50% of the games and actually come out and play it, then sure, craft it. I think it's a very fun card, but I don't think it's a very realistic card. And so that's kind of what this video is about. We're weighing the fun with the realism, I guess, of you actually being able to play these cards and see enjoyment, you know, and not just want to smash your keyboard or mouse or whatever. Moving us along, we have Chromatic Worry. It's a 7 mana legendary artifact that reads: you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color, tap it, add 5 mana. Furthermore, you can pay 5 mana, tap it, and draw a card for each color among permanents you control. It's another chromatic card, so you're going to be able to see things like Chromatic Green, where you ramp into this, and then you have mana that can be spent for any color. So you're going to see Karn's Bastion, or Karn... What is it? It's Karn the Great Creator, something like that. You know, the standard Karn, you're gonna be able to pull artifact cards from your sideboard into the game and be able to cast them down. You're gonna get these huge amounts of mana. You're gonna get this card draw that you can have every turn. The only the only drawback is it's 7 mana for a card that could potentially do nothing when it comes into the board, and you're kind of building your whole deck around this. So it's like, you build up, you build up, you build up, and you have this down, and now, where do you go from here? Now, I will say this as well, there are some interesting combinations with this in Standard that could allow you to go infinite, and I'm not going to mention them here in this video, but I do think it's worth a check-see. But yeah, I don't recommend you actually pick up this card. Again, it's kind of like the Garrick and all that stuff. Not necessarily don't pick it up at all this set, but I would give it a week or two to see, is this card actually playable? Or is it just going to be one of those cards that's way too slow, and now you feel like a dumbass 2 weeks in because you spent your Mythic Rare wildcard on this instead of on Terror of the Peaks, because you thought this was going to be more competitive than Terror of the Peaks, and it turns out Terror of the Peaks shits on this because it costs so little and you're dead before you even get this down, right? So that's what I say, or that's what I mean whenever I'm saying, like, wait on the meta. Wait to see how it shapes out and to see if this is going to be too slow, because we don't know. Anyways, we're back around to Boz Recap, which means we are at the end of our video. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please be sure to leave a like down below, comment in the comment section if you have any suggestions on this video, future videos, or past videos. Furthermore, if you want to see more, please be sure to hit that subscribe button, click on the bell icon that pops out afterwards, which will give you notifications whenever I post new videos, post and all that great stuff. Furthermore, if you're looking to join up with us for tomorrow, Tuesday Brews Day, I recommend hopping over to twitch.tv/Dr. Spilkin and tossing a follow. We will be there live tomorrow, 10 a.m. Join it, set your calendars, mark your dates. I don't know, put in an alarm. I'm going to be showing y'all my exclusive list that we'll be playing in the pre-release event. This is going to be the only time that you can see them, minus whenever I'm actually playing them, you know? Because I don't want my list to get out there everywhere. I don't want everyone taking credit and being like, oh, I did this, right? I think that a lot of Magic content creators are great. They're fantastic people, but I also think that if they see something that they can claim as theirs that's new and different, I think they'll do it, because that's just people, right? Anyways, thanks everybody so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please be sure to leave a like down below, comment in the comment section, all that great stuff. I'm going to see you later tonight, tomorrow, the next day, something like that. Yeah, thanks for the support. We're getting ready for the pre-release. By the way, Wednesday, probably starting around 1 p.m. over on Twitch. Hope to see you there. Peace.